All right. Welcome, guys. I am so pleased to see that you all are here. If you are watching this recording, then it means you have taken the next step to try and figure out what it is I'm talking about. I have for you guys 12 ways that you can fund real estate investments. Okay. I'm not with a bunch of fluff, so we're going to get right into the material. Just want to cover some of the basics as far as what we're going to be covering today and go from there. And I'm going to address some of the things that may have been holding you back from starting your first investment with real estate, okay? Because a lot of the things that I hear, obviously, which is why I'm doing a training, is I don't have the money right now. Or, hey, Candace, you're good people and all, but I'm barely making ends meet as it is. So my ability to be able to have extra money to invest in property right now is just maybe not always the case. Or there's always that thing of not having enough experience and feeling like, things like flipping houses and wholesaling and stuff, that's for the big dogs, that's for the big guys. I don't have enough experience in that. Or the fear that, hey, if something happens, I might fail and end up flat on my face. But guess what, guys? A lot of the things that you are worried about what people might say if you do fail at something like this, trust and believe those folk are hiding things. Some of the main people that's going to talk about you are somewhere hoping that you don't discover that they are underwater in all of their bills, in their mortgages, in their credit card payments, etc. So fear of failing is definitely not going to be something that you're going to be looking at once you're done with this course. Again, a couple things, you don't need a license to do any of this kind of stuff, and it doesn't really take a whole lot of money up front. That's a big assumption. People think that you need a lot of money to get into flipping houses. It's not necessarily the case. It's kind of a case by case basis. Obviously, if you're trying to flip a apartment complex, you're gonna need a little bit of money. But in this tutorial, I'm gonna show you guys some ways that you can get your hands on other people's money or find money right in your own lifestyle that you would never even have considered having and didn't even realize that you have. All right. Again, I get it. All that's men's work, but I'm going to tell you, I am a woman that I'm doing this. This is something I do for real. This is how I eat. And my mentor is the same exact way. And we are women, as you can see. Okay. So no, it's not gender based in any regards. So I'm going to go ahead and get started and, just stick with me, stay around. You know what I mean? We got you covered. I can tell you right now, though, one of your most expensive things that you have to deal with in a month-to-month basis is going to either be your rent or your mortgage. With a training like this, it's going to teach you how you can either live in a home that is paid for free and clear. That's my specialty, actually. That's the thing I specialize in. Or I can show you how to invest in other properties and let those properties pay for your rent and mortgage. What kind of quality of life would you have if that payment was out of the way? That $800, $900, $1,000, $1,200 a month that you pay for your property. What quality of life? What would that mean for you and for your family? What would that mean for that job that you barely like? If you were able to just be like, you know what, I can make ends meet without this job. I'm not telling you to go quit your job, but what I am saying to you is things like my program are the types of things that are going to help you be able to move forward to where that can become a possibility for you and not have to wait until you're ready to retire. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to cover a couple of things, okay? What you're going to learn in this process is some of the best kept secrets that a lot of guys in the real estate industry are keeping. And the main things are the ways to finance the deals. There's always ways to finance your deal, even if it's your first one. So I'm going to expose you guys to some of those secrets today. No out-of-pocket expenses, none, in a lot of cases. Creative fundraising that you probably never even would have considered or thought about. I got a couple of, I would say, non-traditional financing options, but they do work. It can work if you really want to put in the work for it. We got a couple of, what did I say here? Okay, so easy, no personal guarantee financing. So if you have bad credit is basically the way I was trying to politely write that. Credit may not necessarily be an issue for you at this moment. And we got a couple of other things to go over too, again, some non-traditional ways. But anyway, enough about that. I'm Candace Mayo. I am the owner and operator of Fierce Finances. I started flipping houses last year. This is something that is true, near and dear to my heart. I am in a place now, maybe I would say the last 16, 17 years of my life, I was an engineer and designer, but I was living paycheck to paycheck, guys. I was not able to have residual money to do what I wanted to do with my family. I was stuck in a job that I loved the work, but I couldn't stand the people. Like, I wish all of this would have happened during a COVID-19. Everybody's working from home now. I wish I had that option back then, because I literally was phenomenal at my job, but I worked with a bunch of people that didn't look like me, didn't understand me, didn't like my hairstyles, didn't like my perfume, and different, stupid stuff that would just agitate my soul. And then I said to myself, like, Candace, what would life look like for you if you didn't have this problem? So I was in a little bit of a good position, because I was able to start investing earlier on, but I've always been knowledgeable of stock markets and different things like that. So I'm just not your typical situation. But what I have done is created a pathway for other people, single parents, people with one income, people that don't have a lot of money to start with, people that don't necessarily have A1 credit, or people that aren't even familiar with this process. And I've been able to help them become homeowners. And that to me says more than anything. So that's why this training is 100% free. Let's get into it. All right. So along the lines of what I just got finished saying, I'm going to touch briefly here that a lot of people are going to outlive their retirement funds. And if you hadn't already guessed, that is going to be one of the avenues we're going to travel down today. Do you withdraw your funds and your retirement funds and utilize them now so that you have the quality of life you want now? Or do you wait until you are, 62 and a half or something like that, to where, you can use that money? But here's where I'm at. I want to have my financially set up that I don't have to worry about a retirement. I don't have to worry about that. I'll have my medical and things like that I would like to carry, but I want to have the money now. I don't want it later. I want it now while I'm young enough to enjoy the time. I won't tell you guys how old I am, but I'm way, way too young to retire. So here's where I'm at. This is my retirement plan, and this is my thought and why I'm doing things like this. If I have 8 houses, and all 8 of those houses are yielding $700 a month. Now, I'm in Youngstown, so cost of living here is dirtbag cheap. So if you guys are looking to invest in the area, give a holler, give a shout out, let me know. But if I have 8 houses and they're yielding $700 a month, okay, that's $5,600 a month for me in income, to be honest with you, that number I'm being really, really generous with, because one property yields $2,000 for me because of another trade specific way that I'm renting out that home. It yields $2,000, well, $1,800 of $2,000, round it up. But just on a hypothetical, $700, that's $5,600. For my retirement, for where I am, if I am able to get $6,000 a month, it means I have to have at least $8,000 a month because of the taxes. So $6,000 a month is what my retirement would be at $2.4 million. Don't ask me how close I was to getting to that $2.4 million mark before I decided to go ahead and cash out my 401k and get busy now. So now I'm in a position where I'll be able to yield that $5,600 monthly and then worry about health and all of those other things once I hit that 59 and a half range where I can pull out my health or IRAs. Okay. So this is just an example of what it is. So the very first thing I'm going to get into today, guys, is land contracts. Now, I have heard some great stories about land contracts. I have heard some not so great stories about land contracts. And for me, what I'll say is, we'll just get into what it is for you. Okay. So it's, in a nutshell, it's owner financing. So you find someone that owns a home, they own it free and clear, and you decide that you want that home. You would give them a down payment, and then you work out some payment terms with them, and then you would actually take full control of the home. That means all of the repairs on you, any renovations on you, anything that you want to do with the home. If you want to re-rent the house out, if you want to tear off the porch and build a new one, whatever, all of the expenses and all of the, you have complete and utter control of the home. However, until the repayment terms of the contract have been met, you will not physically take possession of the deed of the home. It will still be in the homeowner's possession. Now, with that in mind, I do have a few things that I feel that I have to address here to make sure you guys know to address if you decide to do a land contract. how the taxes are going to be taken care of, transparency, and if this homeowner decides to try and refinance the home, you need to know that. You need to be made full aware. They need to accept full disclosure of that. What the succession plan is, if that person is to pass away, what happens? Does the deed go into a trust? Does the deed go up for immediate auction? Whatever the out is, you also need an out. So if you come along the lines, you bought this house and you decide, you know what, this is not a good arrangement for me, you need to come in with some type of an exit strategy at the time you sign a deal to figure out, hey, you know what, I don't think this is going to work for me. I want out of this deal. So you want to put some key things like that on the arrangement. Also, with a land contract, for me, I would actually open up, or I would conduct the bill of sale under a corporation or LLC, so that at the time it's time to transfer over the deed or make any of the payments, etc., everything can go in a business checking account. And that way you kind of got a record of how much you paid, what of it went to the principal, or however you guys decide to split that money, okay? Because that's important. That's actually key. So those are a few things that I would caution someone doing a land contract to kind of keep in mind. But a land contract is a great way to acquire real estate. All right. Another way here is joint ventures. So say you have a property, right? Well, I put the example in here. I purchased a house for $8,000. I actually just did something very similar. I bought this house, but I am tag teaming up with a company that does construction to do all the renovations. So what happens is I've taken in my portion of the $8,000, and then a company that does construction is putting in their $8,000 and putting it towards the renovations. That's all a joint venture really is. It's just a written agreement between similar parties. It's not always just two parties. It could be three or four, whoever. And you guys all pull your resources together for the sake of getting through this project and getting the work done. So at the end of the project, whether it's a sale or if you're renting it out or whatever, you'll find I'm a big fan of renting property, long-term and short-term. But at the end of the project, the monetary obligations to the project are split, and you make the arrangements of how they're going to be split when you do it. So you basically will form it like an LLC, or you can do it like a contract is as too. You just got to put in the respective roles of everybody in like the bylaws or in the do's and don'ts. And you'd also have to put in there what the monetary divide is going to be, okay? Or what the monetary obligation is going to be for everybody, okay? So with that house I mentioned earlier, said house sells for $32,000. Since we had a 50-50 split in the joint venture, I'd walk away with $16,000 and so with the partner. So in a nutshell, that is joint venture. You don't have to do this by yourself completely 100%. Tag team up with someone that has resources that you can use. Don't just tag team up with anybody, because if they don't have any money either or any other resources they can bring, it's kind of null and void. So joint ventures. All right. Number 3 is what is considered a subject to mortgage or subject to loan. In a nutshell, you are agreeing to take over someone's payments on their current mortgage. So you would inherit any like liens, mechanic liens, or any kind of forbearances. You know, we're in COVID right now, so a lot of the renters and things like that were in forbearance, or a lot of the homeowners were in forbearance, so they didn't have to make the payments while everyone was unemployed and just underemployed. And you know, we were in the middle of this dangerous situation here where people weren't able really to just go out and make money like they traditionally could. So a lot of mortgage companies and the landlords, et cetera, were giving forbearances. Well, if you come in on the tail end of a subject to loan, you are subject to the obligation of all of these things. So what you really want to do is make those payments, do some upgrades, renovations, whatever the case may be, while you can, and get out of the deal and sell the deal. Because here's what's happening. You taking on these people's loans, you're making their loan payment, they moved on. You saved their credit, you kept them from going into foreclosure, so they're happy, everybody's happy. So you do what you gotta do, clean up the property, get a good buyer in there, sell it. Because guess what? This entire process does not require any permission from the mortgage company. So it's a great thing. So once you find a new buyer for the property, then that lender or mortgage company comes in and they release the lien that they had on a property. You take your profit. The new homeowner now assumes a new mortgage, completely new loan. They've paid out the old mortgage company, and everybody wins. You walk away with cash. So this is another way. So say, for instance, it only takes you 30 days to do that. Guess what you just did? You took over somebody's mortgage and you never even had to make a mortgage payment. Now, you'd have to know someone's situation, or, know somebody has something like this going on. And I found that those types of situations happen if somebody passes away, or if there's a divorce, if there is a family that's decided to downsize, if there is a family member or someone that got ill and can no longer work and make the payments on their home. So this is an opportunity for you to be able to come in, do little to no work, and make huge profits by networking and marketing that house to the market and trying to get out from under it. So that's the subject too. All right, number 4 is private lending. Now, while private lending isn't really a traditional way to go about lending, it is a lot of the times the choice that most investors go through because it doesn't really require any income statements or tax returns. They're relatively flexible with the spending and with the lending and what you can and can't do. So versus the banks are a little more stringent about what they require. So these are usually people that don't have like a high net worth, or groups of people that have high net worths. They decide to become private lenders. Okay. So with the short-term non-owner occupancy, this is really, really good for them. We can get in and out of a deal and sell it because it's usually going to yield a lot higher interest than the typical bank. But if I go to a private lender, I'm trying to get out from under this higher interest as fast as possible. So I'm going to try and turn this home around 60 days, 30 days, 90 days, as whatever it is that best suits the home's needs. So this is another option for people that don't necessarily have traditional good credit and can't just go the banking route. You can go with private lenders. Now, there is also something called a hard money lender, and hard money lenders are very similar to the private lenders. The only major difference with a hard money lender is they actually want to see you come to the table with some of the money. So they're going to finance to you. They know you're higher risk. They know you don't have the big credit scores or whatever the case may be. So they're going to make their money on the interest route, but they're not going to finance your entire project. They're going to give you a portion of it. Now, different hard money lenders have different types of criteria. Also, in some instances, I have seen that a hard money lender might require some type of collateral. So if there's another property that you own or some type of an asset that you own, they may want to hold it as collateral as a kind of just a reinforcement to your obligation to the contract and agreement. They want to make sure you're in that deal. And if you back out of it for any reason, they have something to fall back on. Doesn't always happen that way, but it does happen. Okay. Number 6. We're talking about a little bit. This is another one that a lot of people didn't know. I didn't even know. So if you have like a permanent life insurance policy, there are chances that you will have money in that life insurance policy that you can borrow. Candace, cut it out. You lie, I promise. Okay. So how it works is you can finance the premiums that you paid into the policy. Sometimes you can borrow against the policy itself and the death benefit, or you can withdraw money from the policy and still keep the policy intact. So, it's really, really cool here, okay? So, because the way this goes is as long as you leave some money into the policy is still a valid one, okay? So, if you have whole life, universal life, or some type of variable life insurance. You guys, how did I mess up on that word? I say this all the time. But those are the types of policies that you can typically borrow from, and they have a cash benefit to them. So talk with your insurance person, see what you have. But again, just understand that there's 3 different ways you can be withdrawing from it. You can surrender the policy or you can borrow from it. So if you are surrendering the policy, that means you're taking everything out, and that will cancel your policy. So just make sure you understand that note. And also too, if you are borrowing against it, that's usually an interest bearing expense. So it'll be yielding somewhere between 5 and 8% interest wise. Okay. So let's go ahead and go on to the next one here. I'm just trying to make sure I have not forgotten about anything. Yes. Okay. So I'm glad I did stop there. So you can generally draw from the money that you put into the policy free of taxes. But if you get an amount that's over that, say it is universal life, so it's been on the stock market, so it's actually gained some value, it's at earnings, you can get tax free up until the premiums that you paid in, but anything over the premiums, which is into your earnings, you will be taxed on that. All right, 401k withdrawal. So this is another option for people. The 401k is eligible usually for a hardship withdrawal, or and I'm not seeing it up here, so maybe, oh no, okay. Hardship withdrawals or an early withdrawal, okay? So in both those instances, it's just important to understand the tax obligations there, so we won't get into that in this next page, okay? So we're talking here. Hardship withdrawal is a withdrawal from the participant's elected deferrable account made because of an immediate or heavy financial need. Okay, so this is like if you're in foreclosure or if you're facing like some hardship, there's death in the family, things like that. The money is taxed, but is not paid back, okay, from the borrower's account. Now, with an early withdrawal, this is money that you get before you turn 65. And in this instance, there's an additional 10% tax added onto that dollar amount. An IRA withdrawal is considered an early withdrawal if it's done before you are actually 59 and a half. So, but there are some small instances that you might qualify for an exception to that rule. I believe one of those is if you are under some kind of medical duress or something of that nature, then you might qualify to be exempt from that. A retirement loan is different because that has to be paid back, and that money is not taxed if it meets all the rules of the repayment schedule and things like that, because I've done that in the past as well. So, and an idea of this, I withdrew from my tax, my 401k. I think I took out maybe $30,000. And when all of my penalties and everything came out, I probably ended up with close to $20,000, okay? And this is the $20,000 that I used to start my portfolio, my real estate portfolio. And I can do that in Youngstown. I own 2.5 doors at the present moment, well, 3.5 doors. So that was kind of how I got my start into this. So just to give you an idea, it took a nice little amount of money out of there, but I didn't withdraw all of my money either. And I can still withdraw if I want to. I'm nowhere near 59 and a half. So I'm taxed up the wazoo. So I tell people to account for at least a third of that money. All right. But again, if you have a job and okay, so here's the deal. I own my home free and clear now, all of my homes, but this one in particular that I live in now, I don't have a mortgage. I literally have to worry about my utilities, my taxes, which are literally nothing, like literally nothing. It's like maybe $400 for 2 houses. And, just any repairs, which came up. So I took the money and basically redid the entire house front to back. So there's not really a lot to deal with in repairs either. So, and now that kind of takes the burden off of me when it is time for me to retire. I will always have somewhere I can lay my head. And that's important to me. That was important to me. I don't know your financial situation, but that was what was important to me. Being able to know that I have a place to live. I got a roof over my head. If nothing else, I have this home. And I sleep good at night. All right. So an IRA is very similar to the 401k, but an IRA is just an account that you put money into outside of that. So you can put up to, if you're under 50 years old, you can put up to $6,000 into an individual retirement account. Now, if you withdraw from that, the same system applies. There's going to be tax, an additional 10% tax. If you are over 50, you actually can put up to $7,000 because they allow for an additional $1,000 as kind of like a catching up payment. So if you have IRAs out there, yes, they will be taxed. But again, if you can own a home free and clear for $6,000, $8,000, pretty good trade-off, right? I'd say so. All right. So another option on getting funding for real estate deals is using a real estate deal tactic. So I know you guys are like, Candace, what the heck are you talking about? So wholesaling. Wholesaling is a great way to make a quick buck. In essence, in wholesaling, you find a home. It's usually a house that's in duress or some type of distress, or nobody lives in it, or it's just you notice the grass is overgrown, it's whatever. And you use the tactics that I'm going to show you in my From Abandoned to $2,000 a Month course to learn how you can contact that homeowner, okay? You contact them, you guys work out a deal, and I tell you, hey, I can sell your property in 60 days. What do you think it's worth? Oh no, Candace, it's a family. It's been in the family for a long time. So, it's been in there for 30 years. I can't see getting anything less than $15,000 for it. Okay, cool. Let me handle that. Let's sign this contract. You agree to, for the next 30 days, you allow me to try and sell this home for you. And I'll get you what you're asking for. All right, cool. So then I take that contract that I have with them. Now I got 30 days or 90 days or whatever the agreement of the terms were to get rid of this house. I put it on the market, or I contact my investor buddies or my cousin or my uncle or somebody else that I know that would be interested in this house. And I'm like, hey, I got a property over here on so-and-so and so-and-so street. I might not necessarily tell them the location, but I might tell them the side of town or something like that, or what's near it, what's by it. And I'm going to sell this house for $22,000. If you are interested, give a holler, man. It's a great property. 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. She needs some work. She needs cleaned up or whatever, but I think it's a good property, at least worth you taking a look at. I schedule all kind of people to come and take a look at it. I find an interested buyer. Boom. Now, what did I just say that house was selling for? $22,000. So that means I wrote in $7,000 in profit for myself. And this investor, now he knows I'm not going to even bring the deal to him if I can't make something out of it. So he knows. So it's like, it's no sweat off my back. He buys the home. He's all in. We go to closing. They get their money. I get my money because I have an agreement with her. So I got my 7. She got her 15. My investor friends has a new home. And they go flip it and renovate it and do whatever it is that they're going to do to it. That's a wholesaling position. Now, I may go in and clean up the property, cut the grass, just give it a little more presentation. And maybe if I don't have a group of investors or people that is already interested in buying homes, I might have to go ahead and put a couple of ads out there to advertise it. But for the most part, I just got $7,000 in the green for nothing. That's wholesale. So that is another way to consider being able to get funding, because guess what? I did not make any payments to anybody. I'm not obligated to the renovations. I'm not obligated to anything. And I made $7,000 just because I knew somebody that might be interested in the property. Wholesaling. All right. Now, this next tactic is home equity. If you or someone you know has a home that has some positive equity in it, this is an option for you guys. You can get a HELOC. Now, a home equity line of credit is just an open-end revolving line of credit that the borrower uses, and they can do with that money what they like. And the same thing with a loan, except for the loan is like a lump sum versus a line of credit is kind of like, it's like the difference between a charge card and a credit card. So a line of credit, I have it for as long as I need it. I pay back what I spent, and it starts over again. Versus with a credit card, or with a loan, I get one big lump sum of money, and then I have a repayment term on that. That's the only difference. So if you have someone that believes in your goal or believes in your ability to flip these houses or to get this rental property up and running, or to get this building up, there's people that buy halls or rental halls and things like that you can go and make money off of. And the house is just sitting there and has some positive equity. It doesn't even have to be a lot of positive equity, just some source of income. This is an option for you guys. Now, what I have to caution here is, because again, I believe in being all the way honest. If you do a HELOC or a home equity loan, there are going to be some expenses with closing costs. So that is something to consider. But it can open you up to considerably more money than what it's going to cost to close on a loan. So that is something to think about and consider if that is an option for you. Now we can talk about going into the traditional bank loan. Again, this is just kind of an unsecured debt that you would get from the bank. And for these types of loans, like private loans from a banking institute, like they have different types of terms, and it's going to be fixed interest for a certain amount of time. Now, these loans are going to typically be between like $2,000 and $50,000 before it's going to be like, hey, all right, what do you want this money for? Because if you're going in and you're trying to buy a car or something like that, then it's different. But if you need more than $50,000, it's obviously going into something that is more expensive, like a commercial type of thing or a property or something like that. So 50 is usually the cutoff for a private loan from your bank. These terms for this is going to be between like 36 months to 60 months. Like I say, so it's kind of similar to a car, but it's a private loan. So this is one large installment or lump sum, if you will, upfront, if you have the credit to get approved for a traditional bank loan. I've had to go this route in the past, not necessarily to purchase real estate, but it is something that I went through and did for myself. I believe we financed, this is before I knew anything about credit, guys, financed some money to give my family a family reunion. So I took out a small loan, pay the interest or whatever, and had the payment in terms. So, but that is another route that you can go. Because again, I'm in Northeastern Ohio, guys, and when I tell you, and I'm everywhere, I'm in Akron, I'm in Cleveland, I'm in Warren, I'm in Youngstown, I'm even in Pennsylvania. There's like Newcastle, like Lawrence County area. I'm at all of the auctions. I go everywhere. And a lot of the times it's just networking for me. A lot of times I'm not actually even purchasing homes in these areas, but the homes are so affordable. The wholesaling opportunities that come out of these are incredible. And I meet other investors. So my Rolodex of people, when I have a property that's coming up on the land for sale, is long as this table. I know y'all can't see the table I'm sitting at, but the names and the opportunities are endless. So me having to pay a little bit of an interest to a bank is no big deal for me. So I know that I can get for $50,000. I can get 4 homes for $50,000. I could squeeze in a 5th one if I just really wanted to. The purchases that I have, I guess I can tell you guys this. The homes that my very first home I bought was $4,700. The second home I bought was $5,000. Now, these were not homes that you could just pick up and move into tomorrow, but they were homes and I owned them free and clear. So what I did was I went in and renovated. I probably spent in the first house I spent maybe like $4,000, maybe 5 even, getting that one renovated. And in the second home, we're looking at like $8,000 in expenses on that one. And the third home, I actually did a joint venture. That's why I say I have, well, I used to say I have 2.5 doors because I went in that property half and half, but we are actually in the process of selling that property, wholesaling it. We haven't even closed on it yet. And then my third house. So, we can get homes for a little of nothing up here. I think the cheapest house, the most expensive rather, house that I have bid on here in the Northeastern area, there was a house in Warren I got in a bid war, and I went up to maybe $25,000. Because at that point, I'm cutting into my profit now. So I know I'm one of those types of people, I need to see my money back in a year or I don't want it. That's just my investment strategy on this. I want my money back in a year's time. So anyway, moving on, we're going to go into the last here, which is credit cards. Now, some people have credit card limits that they can just go buy a house on them. I just told you guys, there's $4,700 for a house and another $4,000 to get it renovated. And I'm kind of a girly, so I was doing things I didn't necessarily need to get done. I like my properties to look a certain way because I have a reputation of hope. But that's $5,000. Somebody right now watching this has $5,000 on a credit card and another $5,000 that they can renovate the house with. So that is an option for you. But I'm also going to give you guys a little more of the game. And again, guys, I cannot stress this enough. you can buy homes. They are affordable. This is a very doable thing. I'm going to show you guys 2 ways that you can get money off of your credit cards and go make purchases of real estate. But then I'm going to come back even better and give you even bigger game on how this is the play. So you can use Venmo, okay? You can use Venmo. Everybody knows Venmo. You kind of just use it to move money from one place to another. You got to pay somebody, send somebody some money, blah, 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 right? You can register your credit card on Venmo and use that to transfer money to people. I was like, wait a minute, what? So in this regard, you can kind of use that to slowly start pulling money off of those cards and taking the cash and going and purchasing homes through foreclosures. Kind of Mahoney County. Ask me how. Now, there's also another way that you can do this. You can register your credit cards on Plastic, PLASTIQ.com. Plastic will pay your rent on your behalf with your credit card, right? And while that's paying your rent, you're quietly stashing money. So taking that rental payment and stashing it until you get up to, $5,000. And then you're going to call Candace and say, hey, you know what? I think I'm interested in trying to see if I can get one of them homes up there. So that's another option. But here's the real play with this and why I said call me. And a lot of the foreclosure, well, not a lot of them, and all of them, in the foreclosure processes here in Northeastern Ohio, there's a deposit that you have to put up when you buy a home. And then you got 30 days to pay the remainder of the taxes. You got another 30 days to pay everything else. So literally, if you wholesale a property here, you can get in and out of a property in 60 days, and all it ever cost you out of your pocket was $1,000. Ask me how. Ask me how. That is why I do this, you guys. I do this for real. I have a class where I teach everybody how to do this start to finish. I teach you the foreclosure process. I'll walk you through it. This stuff is profitable. Change your money, change your life. I promise you that. Anyway, moving on. So listen, I'll need you guys to remember something though. With the credit card options, if you decide to go the credit card route, remember the 524 rule. Well, 524 rule. No more than 5 credit cards within a 24-month period. So if you currently have credit cards, say you got 2, I want you to go and apply for 3 more credit cards. Candace, why would I? Blah, 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 blah. We're not worried about that. That is a good debt because the balance from them 3 credit cards is going to buy you 2 houses, or going to buy you a house, and then you're going to renovate the house with the other 2 credit cards. We ain't worried about maxing out that. We ain't worried about that because that's what we're going to do. We're going to get that money back 3, 4, 5 times over. We're going to get that money back 3, 4, 5 times over. One rent check is going to take care of that. And I have a class where I teach you just how to do that, exactly how to do that, start to finish. So that's why I'm saying rock with me, guys. All right. But there are a couple of other options that you can look into. If this all sounds scary to you, or the thought of trying to do any of this, is there are other ways you can invest in real estate, investment trust funds. Those are Reits. A lot of those can be found on a traditional trading sites like Webull, TD Ameritrades, the Charles Schwab's pages, things like that. Or you can even use like the Robin Hoods and stuff like that. There's going to be real estate investment trust funds on those sites. You can also become what's considered an equity investor, which was kind of similar to something I went over in this earlier, where you kind of just come in on a deal. When I was talking about the joint venture, you kind of just come in on the deal with someone. But it might be a group of you guys. So once the property is being rented out, you'll get your check every month, for whatever the percentage of the contributions are that you put in. So that's an option. I know there are other programs out there, like Grant Cardone has a huge equity investors program to where, it's on tiers, but if you have money to invest, but you don't necessarily want to come small chains like Miss Candace, you can invest on like a apartment complex or something like that with him and get your cut of a check each month. That's an option. Also, there are tax lien certificates. I'm actually going to be recording a course on this. I have not done it just yet because I do not record or sell you guys on anything that I haven't already done myself. And Ohio doesn't have them. Ohio doesn't have tax lien certifications. But Some other states do. I'm actually in a process of going through it. So once I've done a few of them, because this is going to only be my first, and I'm not going to learn everything in my first. So I'm going to do a few, and then I will record a course for you guys to teach you about the tax lien certificate process, the do's and don'ts, things that I've learned and things that work, things that haven't worked for me. So we'll get into that as well. All right. There's also what I do, which is my specialty. Like I said, I specialize in long-term rentals. So if you are interested in learning how to purchase foreclosures, go into the foreclosure auctions. Like I said, I go to numerous auctions in Northeastern Ohio. I also go to some that are in Pennsylvania, because from where I am, it's literally not even a 20-minute drive over to Newcastle, where they are traditionally having their foreclosure auctions. I go all the time. There's an auction that I can attend every day of the week, like the weekday, Monday through Friday. So I am the foreclosures queen. I'm not afraid of it. This is what I do for real. Also, you can consider a few other things. One of the things I did find that I had money on one of those sites, you guys, and I should have linked it in here. The unclaimed funds. I mean, it was only $300. Was a deposit on a gas bill that I had to put when I moved to Florida, because I wasn't a Florida resident. I had to make a deposit to get a gas account. Well, when I moved, I didn't think anything about it. I'm moving back to Ohio. I didn't pay no mind. Well, I had a $300 deposit due to me, and I did not leave a forwarding address. They had no way to get in touch with me. I went and searched one day out of nowhere looking for unclaimed funds for Candace Mayo, and guess what pops up? $300 out of Florida. So I was like, I've lived in like 7 different states in the last 20 years. So I was like, let me check every one of these states and see if I have any unclaimed money out there. And I did have like a $31 check from Wendy's. I don't even know how. I've never worked for Wendy's, so I don't know how I ended up with that. But yeah, guys, so this does happen. So that's the option. If you decide to get a second job and use the funds for that specifically to fund your real estate investment goals. Like I said, you can start with $1,000. You really can start with less than that. You can start with me with $1,000. Or you can just try to see if you can borrow money from friends and family. If people really rock with you and they love you the way they say they do, then it should be kind of easy for you to fundraise and get a couple of dollars out of family that believe in the goal, believe in the dream. Because here's the deal. I believe in what I do. I really, truly do. It's given me the peace of mind to be able to do what I want to do when I want to do it. And that freedom, that life, I was something I craved a lot when I was in corporate America. And I have it now. And I just believe that anybody can have this feeling. We are in uncertain times, pandemic times, layoffs happening, food shortages, whatever's going on, gas prices. I don't even want to talk about it right now. But at the end of the day, having your largest expense taken care of, or not only that, having other houses now to where you are literally making money overnight when you sleep once a month is a very good feeling. That's important to me. And if I don't know you personally, but if I had to guess, I think that's important for you too. So this is why we do it. Also, you're increasing your network, creating passive incomes and stability. You sleep better at night. I know I do. And you know what? I'm building assets. At the end of the day, I can take my entire portfolio now and walk into any institution that I want. I have good credit, great credit. So that's not really an issue for me. But I can walk into any banking institution and say, I don't want to put anything, I don't want to pay anything out of pocket, but I need money for blah, blah, blah. And use that money to go buy a duplex. I can do that right now. And that's a great, great feeling. I remember when my son was younger, I used to, it was like the morning routine. We were like running out of the door every day just to I did not have a chance to take the time and enjoy our morning routines with my son. He's my only kid. And we didn't have time to sit down and eat breakfast or sing little cute songs while I taught him how to tie a shoe or packing a lunch and giving him Mom, I don't want carrots today. Can I just get the cucumbers instead? We didn't have that kind of time. I was literally beating the clock. Oh, I got to get out of this door. I lived in Newport News, Virginia at the time. So I got to fight traffic to get to work and this and that. And I know everybody says it, but if I had known then what I know now, I would have done this a lot sooner, because my son could have benefited from having me happy and home and just enjoying our time with each other. He grew up so fast. Like, I feel like I missed so much. He's about to be 25 now. So I'm doing what I'm doing now. And hopefully this will help change someone else's life, to where, hey, you know what? I like my job, but I'm not a slave to it. If it takes off tomorrow, I know I'll be okay. I know at the worst case scenario, I know if nothing else, got a roof over my head. Guys, that's what I do it for. That's what's important. That's what's important. That's what's important. So I'm going to give you guys an opportunity. If you want to, you can join my course. I do have a course out here. It is $69. So that lets you know it's $69. This is not I'm not going to get rich off your $69. Okay. But what I am going to give you is the game and how I do this and how I was able to acquire these homes. I have a full portfolio now, and it's nowhere near what I wanted to be yet, but it's on the way. And I'm just putting my foot in the door. So I'm extending this opportunity to you guys to figure out how I was able to do it. I found an abandoned property, and I actually give you some strategies on how to contact the homeowners and things that you can say to them or do for them or do to them to make them say, man, who is this Candace person? Like, girl, I had to call you. I've literally had a guy say that. He said, girl, I had to call you. But I found an abandoned property, and now that property is, and I put $2,000 up here, guys, because that's really the easiest way of doing it. That's maximum that property will produce, but it produces 18 for me at the present moment. But still, from an abandoned property that nobody cared about, nobody loved, or I ain't gonna say it wasn't loved, but the homeowner just was in a duress and didn't know what to do with the property. And when I saw, I knew instantly what to do with it. So, this is a strategy, guys. So let me teach you the game. Let me show you what I know and how you can get these properties that are either abandoned or foreclosing, or even in some instances pre-foreclosure, and make them make money for you. Because everybody doesn't necessarily have the opportunity to pack up and move into a house once it's foreclosed and renovated. But what they will be able to do is stick a renter in there or several renters in there and make the money. And I don't know about you, but an extra $2,000 a month for me right now ain't too shabby, if I should say so myself. And that's one property. Join the crew. Okay, like me, I'm available to you guys if you need to find me. I am on Fierce Finances to everything. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, whatever the case may be. The tax deed investment course, I go over several things in that course. I'm going to give you a rundown a little bit. I show you guys how to look for squatters in a house, because that can be a nightmare. I ain't going to say a nightmare. No, yes, I am. That can be a nightmare. I haven't had an instance like that, but I know that it can be a problem for people. We had a breaking and entering situation at one point in time as well. Not me, but one of my investor partners. So it does happen. I teach you guys what to expect during a bid process from start to finish. I teach you guys how to find the best deals while you're at home just doing nothing. I teach you guys how to drive around the neighborhoods and drive for dollars. I teach you how to find properties without leaving your home at all. If you know one address, I teach you how to find the whole damn block from your couch. And you will have every single detail about that property that you want to know. How much it's owed in taxes, who the homeowners are, what their address is, how to contact them, the whole shebang, without paying for it. And I don't pay, y'all. I'm very frugal. I get that from my daddy. I'm not paying for anything. If I can find the information for free, I will. So this is information I'm giving to you guys. I have a free workbook that comes with my course that helps you to calculate the expenses and what it's going to cost to bring the house back up to code and get it going as far as being rented out. I'll teach you how to look for certain characteristics in renters, how to run a background checks. Guys, this is it. I'm telling you, this is the game. For $69, For $69, it's the game. It's real. It's gonna be the realest game you ever in your life get, and I'm gonna bring it to you. No stingy energy over here. So find me again. I am Candace Mayo. I'm on Instagram, Facebook. I am on TikTok. I am on YouTube. Everything is Fierce Finances 2. Get this game, get this money, change your life, change your finances. We are out here forever. I'm going to give you guys, also I got like a phone number too if you guys want to reach out to me. I got an address that says anywhere, any city, any day, because that's where I'm at. All right, guys, listen. Join my tax deed investment course. You will not regret it. Choice is yours. It's up to you. I'm out here. I'm ready. I got the game is ready for you. $69. You cannot miss that. I'm out of here. Peace, love, and blessings. And I will talk to you guys in the next recording.